Hello, everybody. I'm Oishika. I'm from the Locavore, and I work in the storytelling department at Locavore. Thank you so much for having me. I think we'll go into what the Locavore does in a little bit, but I think I've been interested in food and the cultures around food and our food histories for a while now, and I'm really excited to hear what everyone has to say and learn from all of you. Hi, everybody. I'm going to talk to you about the Locavore, which is an organization that I'm a part of. The Locavore was founded by Chef Thomas Zacharias, who had spent 15 years as a professional chef. And in his time as a professional chef, he kind of realized the realities of the Indian food system and simultaneously how disconnected a lot of our urban audience is from the realities of this food system. So certain issues that a lot of us are aware of, how large-scale food growing methods like monocropping are energy intensive and sap out land, and how the privileging of certain foods and grains have led to a disappearance of agrobiodiversity, and simultaneously a lot of traditional knowledge systems with it. So he kind of started the Locavore with the intention to do something about it. And what was evident to us when we started, at the Locavore, is that there's a lot of people who are working very hard to do something, to make some amount of positive impact within the food system, whether that's archivists who are kind of documenting traditional recipes, a lot of small food growing organizations that are trying to produce food that is locally appropriate, using traditional techniques that are locally appropriate, and many of us in this room who are trying to kind of document forgotten food histories. But what was evident was that this is happening almost in silos, and like many of us have mentioned, it's a lonely process. Challenges are there are many challenges, and solutions seem kind of scarce. So in that, we thought that what we could do is almost have a facilitatory role of building a community of different people that are trying to do what we call a little bit of good through food in India. Can we go to the next slide? The next slide. Right. So what we imagine as doing good through food, or making some amount of positive impact within the food system, we imagine doing through certain pillars that we think targets multiple aspects of the food system. Next slide. One of which is storytelling, which is the department that I work under. We do storytelling through published articles, interviews, and book excerpts. And through storytelling, we are able to foreground the very diverse food realities across the country with nuance and specificity. So as you can see, we've recently done an Inside My Kitchen piece where we tried, Inside My Kitchen is a property where we document different kinds of kitchens in India. And in this piece, we've documented Dayal Mukte's Me Ramo Cafe in Meghalaya, which is in the Ribhoi district. And Kong Dayal, as she's lovingly called, is going back to the Bhoi community's ways of cooking, which might include disappearing practices of foraging greens and also foraging fish and crabs, slower process of cooking, often without oil, but with smoking ingredients. And so through these stories, we implore our readers who very much kind of fall into the trap of only interacting with food through consumptions to kind of critically think about their role in the food system. Another example is our market archive piece on the Kasamedu fish market. I don't know about you, but I know my family has kind of, over the years, fallen prey to Meet-to-Go and those kinds of like online meat and fish ordering platforms. And through the market archive, not only do we want to kind of represent the realities of many fishing communities, fish selling communities as they weather the climate crisis and a lot of man-made disasters like oil spills and overfishing, but also encourage people to act a little bit, to maybe visit your local fish market and realize what is in season, what seasonality even means for fish. Simultaneously, we did a piece on the Mazdoor kitchen in Delhi, And the Mazdoor Kitchen is a community kitchen that feeds a lot of the homeless laborers in Delhi. And through this, we kind of want our readers to understand, to interact with some uncomfortable feelings, but with sensitivity, with tenderness, and maybe get them to actually act. So Mazdoor Kitchen often is accepting donations to keep their community kitchen alive. And so it's not just about what we eat and the choices that we make, but what can we do kind of beyond that through storytelling. Next slide, please. And there's no imagining for the lack of a better word, reformed food system without considering food producers. So our second producer is our work, our second pillar is our work with partner producers, who are small food producing organizations across India that we believe are doing good work, whether that's like highlighting local produce or paying fair wages to their laborers. Shailesh Avate, who is supposed to be here, is from Triple O Farms, who are one of our food producers, and we're doing the Wild Food Festival with them next weekend, so if any of you are available. Through the pillar of partnerships, one, we want to kind of highlight the labor, the time that goes into growing food, but also simultaneously foster a community among different food producers who are working at very small scales and are kind of working against the system, which is governed for large-scale production, for like profit-led initiatives, and often kind of at the cost of quality. Next slide, please. Okay, but of course it's important to us that while we kind of do all of this on the production side, we have to make mainstream this knowledge and do it in a considerate way, in a way that kind of doesn't lead to overconsumption or appropriation, and we do this through events. And we find that events are a great way for us to kind of make a lot of this knowledge that we are so lucky to learn accessible and almost fun. So in these slides you can see that one of our partner producers, Spirit of the Earth, they work with different kinds of native rice varieties that are grown across India. And the attendees are kind of getting a sense and feel of what these even feel like, because I, for one, can't like go to a market and tell you this is this variety, this is that variety. And after this, a lot of us got to taste those rice varieties and kind of notice the differences in the taste, which often I think for our kind of like simplified palates are hard to notice. Simultaneously at a different meetup, we had Manju and Shrija from Forest Post talking about the lived experiences of forest dwelling communities in Kerala. Again, how their practices and traditions persevere despite kind of different kinds of land disputes and threats to their livelihood. Next slide, please. And we also do projects, and projects are our attempt at delving deep into a region or a community or certain ingredients. Next slide, please. And a great example of this is the Millet Revival Project, which is our longest running project. I think the aim with the Millet Revival Project was to just understand what is going on with millets. Okay, 30 seconds. And since there's so much like kind of fanfare about it, there's support from the state, there's support from large organizations, and so we just wanted to understand what is the big deal about. But I think this is a really good kind of example of how we think we like to deal with the food system, where like a lot of people have mentioned, millets have historically been marginalized, and there's lots of stories of strength, grit, shame, and labor that surrounds millets. So at events, through stories, through recipes, we try our best to marry the two, that you should eat millets. There's value in it, but you need to do it keeping in mind the many generations that have toiled away, that have dealt with marginalization, and how all the generations of work that has led to it now coming to our plates. And so what does it really mean to kind of bring millets back? Yeah, and that's kind of it. Just the last thought to leave us with. Yes, thank you.